Hello everyone, just sitting here in Clearbrook, Virginia. Got a load to pick up in a couple days. Guess I'm on a 34. Today I wanted to talk about my experience with the New York Auto Show inbound. Now this is something that I've actually done before a few years back, but this was a totally different experience. My opinion, a little bit better, a little bit worse. For background, my first experience with the New York Auto Show was back when I worked for STI. Pretty good people to work for, actually. They sent me in. They paid so much for me to cross the GW Bridge. They paid so much per load. And we would go in, park on the street at the convention center. Then we would actually get checked in, wait to be called. They called us, we go unload, leave out, grab another trailer. Now that trailer could have been at the pit, which doesn't exist anymore. It was right across the street, on the side of the building. That doesn't exist anymore. Or we would go to either a drop yard in Dayton, New Jersey, or Roseville, which had to cross the bridge, leave the state. Not going very far. I did 6 loads that that year and made out like a bandit. It was fun. This year was a bit different. We come with a totally different outfit now, Infinite Logistics. We were asked to do the mobile mountain, and this particular one was Camp Jeep. It is a 2-piece mountain built on 2 different step deck flatbed trailers. You back them up together. They have a little coupling that we slide into, and then they put it together, all that good stuff. But actually, that whole experience was fun, but I had some damage done to my truck probably a week before we did the show. Somebody had rolled it into my truck and caused some major, well, not major, minor damage. That's all cosmetic. I'm looking at my missing piece. So before going to pick up the mountain, I was going to actually go by a body shop and get an estimate. Now, I'd called them that Friday. We left Monday. Called them that Friday to see if I could come in and grab an estimate. They said yes, but when I got there, the guy that normally does the estimates was feeling sick, and he left early. So I couldn't get the estimate. Went over into Detroit, picked up the mountain from Palmer Moving and Storage. And I don't know why I keep wanting to call them Arnold, but it's Palmer. Bunch of great guys there. Our contact there, Mark, he is a awesome individual. He always pays us fairly, so I don't ever mind doing work for him anytime he asks. So ended up not getting the estimate, going to pick up the mountains. Go to get hooked. There's like several different mountains there. Ours is sitting on either side of, I think it was either the Ford Mountain or the GM Mountain. We we backed in, got everything hooked up, off to the races we went. Drove all the way, well, we drove down to Perrysburg, got fuel, took off, drove all the way out to Perrysburg. Not Perrysburg. Perrysburg is where we fueled. Drove out to Girard, parked for the night, got dinner, and that was that. Woke up the next morning, because the show's going in Wednesday, so we drove Monday and Tuesday. Didn't need to go all the way out there. Finished up the trip. By now, I'll probably have some footage up of was coming into New York. Sadly, I was having battery issues, and having those battery issues, my charger wasn't functioning. So also having to start, I didn't have one of these. So starting my outside camera, I started it early. I could have actually waited to start my inside camera, but I started it early and got probably not even a good ways down the road to get good footage uh, before the outside camera died. But now I have this, so, and I was just learning how to use it earlier. Also learning how to use it on this video, just testing it out with my camera, seeing how long it would, if I turn my camera off by hand, how long would it stay on. And I guess it'll stay on long enough to get the camera started, which is what I needed to do. So we're going to go back here in the next couple weeks to pick up the mountain, and I'm going to try again with better footage for that video, because I think I will be doing outbound coverage. But we get into New York, have a nice, okay drive until we turn down Columbus and then on to 10th. And we get on into Hell's Kitchen, where traffic is just not good. It's people trying to get to where they're going, cabs hunting that prey, and we just it's only 11 miles from the bridge to Jacob Javits Convention Center, and it usually takes about no less than an hour during the day. And this isn't even rush hour. So we get there, try to find us a place to park. We park actually at the front of the building where we are. I'm gonna try to put up that screenshots. Where we are parked, we are actually past where we are taking the mountains. We could have made a U-turn on that road. Boss man wasn't so sure, because they are spread axle trailers and they weigh a total of 57,000 pounds. That's not what's on the trailers. That is the trailer with the components for the mountain on it. Grand total 57,000 pounds. So he didn't want to rip the wheel off. And I'm just like, okay. So, we get parked, we walk around to the back of the building where the check-in is. And we walk in, and they're like, oh, you guys are delivering tomorrow? Yeah. The guy that checks in shows up at 8. So we walk back to the trucks, chat for a bit, head down the street to a, what was it? It looked like a little food place that had a little buffet there. Got the buffet, and I had some not sweet and sour, I had orange chicken, which was dry, a fish that was a little too fishy. Mashed potatoes was good, rice was good, calamari was good, but cold. And the garlic bread was okay. A little hard. We got there between them putting out fresh food. Should have gave it a couple hours, but it was whatever. We got food, waited until around 8, got back out of the truck, walked back over to get checked in, only to be told, oh, we don't start that until 10. Yay. So we go back to our trucks. I'm taking another nap, set an alarm for like 9:50 or something like that. Get up, take the nap, or get up. We go back around to the front of the trailer, or back of the convention center, sorry. And finally get checked in, or we're standing in line to check in. Now, let me preference this by saying, on that door there is a knock sign that says, knock. It's push to open door, but you gotta knock. They have to hit a button on the inside so that we can push the door open, go inside. There is a sensor on the inside of the room that when you walk up to it, it unlocks the door. That being said, there is no sensor on the outside. You have to be pushed to let in. That's going to be important here in a little bit. But we're all standing in line, getting checked in, whatnot. And there's this one guy who is actually in front of myself and boss man. But he goes to, and he stood off to the side to sit down. But he had his place in line, whatever. But as people are coming in to get in line, they're knocking on the door, and he's all like, "Push, push! You gotta push!" And we're trying to tell him they need to be let in. That's why they're knocking, but he's not listening. But finally it gets to the point where he's just losing his ever-loving mind. It's like, it says it on the door, you gotta push, push. And we're all like, me and Dave is just like, dude has no business losing his mind like that. So he gets up, it's his turn to go, and those of you who've ever done trade shows know you need empty weights and light weights. Empty weights before you pick up, and then once you pick up, light weights. They need that at the show that you're putting in to properly calculate the weight and how much to charge. Not you, but somebody else, broker or whoever. So he left his empty and loaded weights in the truck, so he goes to go get them. Me and Dave get checked in, boss man, and we get checked in without incident and walk out. We don't really need it because 57,000 pounds, it's the whole trailer. It's not going inside the convention hall. Nobody's actually doing any work. We all, to unload it, we just back them up butt to butt and drop them. So we leave, and the dude's walking up, and he's the same, you gotta push, dude, or pull, or whatever. He tries to open the door. It's locked. Remember, knock, then push the button, you come in. But he's trying to open the door. Door won't open. There's nobody standing over there to unlock the door. There is, but there's nobody sitting on the sensor. So I go to say, dude, you gotta knock, but Dave stops me and goes, no, let him suffer. All right. We got a good long laugh out of that, because he's sitting there losing his mind over something he doesn't need to be losing his mind over. And it clearly says on the door, knock to be let in. Well, you can't fix stupid, I guess. So we walk back to our truck. While we checked in, the guy told us, oh, you should be getting called around 8 o'clock. Okay, cool. Or 6 o'clock. 6 or 8, somewhere in there. Now, we were told we were going to go in at 6. They have one truck to unload before us, and then they'll work on us. Getting us put together. Well, go to sleep, wake up, they're ready for us. It's, I think, 8 o'clock. Now, I'm letting my truck warm up because I didn't wake up early enough to warm it up. It's got this thing where it's being temperamental, where it doesn't want to shift until after an hour after it started. I've got to figure out what that is. It's not throwing a code, so I can't take it to a dealer, because if it's not throwing a code, we don't know what's wrong with it, and it's going to cost, I don't know, it'll cost me about $3,000 just to drop the transmission. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Anyway, 15 minutes. Anyway, we get called in, and they walk up and they want us in there. Like they actually came out and told us you gotta get in there. So we drive around the block and get in, and we get to where we are wanting to sit, because last time we were up, the mountain was up against the curve, but it's actually a different mountain than the one that Dave brought in, Boss Man, all those years ago. So this is actually the two-piece. But we get pulled in, there's nothing there. The only other thing we see, parked across the street from us before we moved, was the crane. And it's just sitting there. They eventually drive in, but like the guys didn't show up until I think right around 8-ish. But they can't put us into position until they get a couple other trucks. One truck in particular, because it's got all the wood that they're going to use, all the plywood that they're going to use for shims to level it out so that we can, so that the mountain can be level. And we're just sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting. I get pulled forward. Dave, Boss Man, gets to drive around and get into a position where he can back in. I have to wait. I get pulled up. Crane comes in, pulls in front of me, and we're just sitting there waiting and waiting. First truck comes in, gets unloaded, leaves. Second truck comes in, gets unloaded, leaves. Third truck comes in, gets unloaded, leaves. Then another truck comes in, gets unloaded, and leaves. Now, just to add to the karma, when the second truck came in, the third truck was right behind it and pulled up in front of the second truck and got unloaded and left. You want to know who that second truck was? Push! You gotta push! Just push the door open! Yeah, that guy. That guy. So, even more karma. Shouldn't be so hasty to get mad at people, especially if you can't read what's on their door. Yeah, the door says push, but... And then someone jumps in front of you to get unloaded. And thankfully, I got some pretty good B-roll. I got a conversation where they were talking about unloading in a snowstorm, and then the next day it was nice and clear, not a sign of snow. We'll try to put that up now.
First, it was 2018, we were setting up, we had a blizzard. They kind of set the tent up, fuck, it was a disaster. Like, we had to leave. Everybody left because it was just, the snow was so bad.
Did the snow go on that year? Or?
Yeah, oh yeah, and then the next day it was 65 and sunny, there wasn't a trace of snow. We were all getting sunburned. It's just, springtime in New York. You're gonna get everything. You're gonna get every, torrential rain, snow, perfect sun. Just one day after the next, you just don't know what you're gonna get.
Oh yeah. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, he tells me that story. And, they're getting everything lined up. They got lines on the ground. They've got crates of stuff on the ground that they're, opening up, putting stuff together. They get the bracket out, put it on the back of his truck, which he's not used to that. They put it on the back of someone else's, and then he backed up to it. Well, I'm going to be the one to do that this time. Yay! But there's so much stuff around me, they have to move stuff. I have to move stuff. But they're finally ready for us at about 5 p.m. So we get backed up. And or I get moved, I back up, swing my trailer out, and get backed up, but I can't get lined up to save my life. Which, we have those days. Drivers, we have those days where you just can't line it up for nothing, and this stuff has to be kind of exact. So what ends up happening is I get backed up and made it to it. I got some footage of that. should be showing on the screen right now, hopefully, if I'm any good at this editing thing. So we get it backed up. I get lined up with the holes, and it goes in, but I'm kind of, I can see it in my mirror. I'm like this. Like if I look in my mirror, I'm like this. You know, just I'm crooked. I'm crooked, and I know I'm crooked. But they back me up and get lined. You know, we hit the slots anyway. So they bolt the other side because those holes lined it up, but the holes on the driver's side did not line up. On my driver's side, didn't line up. So we're trying to get it lined up. Boss man gets in the truck. He's going to back up. My foot comes off the brake and we shift. All I hear over the CB is, "What did I do?" My boss man was asking what he did. I said, "My foot came up." I said, "We moved?" He's like, "I know we moved. Were you not holding the brake?" My foot came off the brake, yeah. It was just not good. So I push us back into place. We get moved back into place, but I'm still crooked. And you know, before we even hook up, it's like, well, we're 2 inches off this way. We're 2 inches off this way, so we need to go 2 inches that way. So I move over. Well, we need to go a few more inches that way. Move over. Now you should come back 4 inches. What the fuck? It's just like, I don't like those guys. I'm gonna be back working with them on the outbound. But it just, man, it was like, because you have to be precise, and it's the first time I had to be that precise. That's good practice, though. And finally, it's like it suggested that Dave drops the trailer, but then he says, "No, let's let me drop the trailer," and then I come in at it from an angle, a 45, but preferably a 90, and I just shove the trailer over. That's what we do. Drop the trailer, I come out from under it, swing it over, come back, I tried to get it at a 90, wasn't working, so, you know, hook to it at a 45. And I'm trying to push it. It's not working. Wheel starts spinning. So I let off of it. The guy tells boss man, "Hey, if he could do that again, I think we'll have it." Because we almost had it. I saw the holes line up. So he walks over to me. He's like, "Do that again." No, he's on the phone with me, actually. He's like, "Do that again. Do that again. It just stay in it." I said, "All right." Throw it back in reverse. Start. You know, giving her the beans. And my wheels are spinning. Truck's rocking. Boss man says, "Dude, grab the freaking bolt," and just shoved it in one hole, shoved it in the other hole. Said, "We got it!" And I just let off of it, and I'm like, finally. Hop out of the truck, all I smell is burning rubber. Whoops a doodle. Whoops a freaking doodle. But we got it. And boss man tried to see if we couldn't, because, you know, we've been sitting out there awake all day long, and he didn't want to drive too late into the night. So he's sitting there asking the security if we could park there. And security's on straight up honest with him. He's like, "Look, excuse me." He says, "Look, if this was the old days, I'd let you do it, no problem. But you gotta clear it with Triton speeding through the parking lot. He said, if this was the old days, I'd let you do it, but, you know, as of right now, we got to clear it with Freeman and all that. And he's like, man, just forget it. So we take off. And we take off, and Dave says, are we supposed to go out on 9th or 10th? Dave's leading. Are we supposed to go out on 9th or 10th? I can't remember either. This is more of a problem for me, more than Dave, boss man, because I'm taller than he is as far as the truck's concerned. I am taller. I'm not 13.6. My stack might be 13.6 to go out there and look at it, but I'm just below 13.6. He's short enough to take the Lincoln Tunnel, I think. I'm not. Not with my air dam and stack. But we come up to 10th. 10th is a one-way this way. We need to go that way. Well, this starts a Lost in New York story. We also, I got a really great time-lapse of that we'll be playing. And so we're going down straight, we make a turn, we're going down, drive right past Times Square. And I got a terrible picture of that because it was too bright. I tried to do it on night mode, but it didn't turn out like I liked. It turned out okay. But we're just going down. He gets further away. I get closer. Then all of a sudden I can't see him. We drive past Macy's. He goes, "Look, there's Macy's." And we could drive all the way down to almost the other side of Manhattan. Actually, we were on the other side of Manhattan. And I'm looking at the clearance at the bridge across from us. Across the street, down the street. And I'm looking at that going, hey, Dave, are we going straight or are we turning? He goes, I think we're going straight. And I'm looking at the clearance going, that says 13 foot, or that says 12.9. He goes, I guess we're turning. And so we turn and start, I think we were on first. Yeah, we were on first. He wanted to, we stop at an intersection before this little tunnel thing. They're literally pointing the trucks to go down this 13-foot tunnel. Because it's like, there's two short tunnels on first, and it's like whoop, whoop. But they're 13 foot. We just went across the top. There was a cop sitting there. I ran a light in front of him. Didn't do nothing. Yay. I didn't run it on purpose. I was just trying to keep up with Dave. Boss man. And we're going, and because he's looking for a particular street. I can't remember the name of the street he was looking for, but he was looking for that street so that we could turn down and start going back towards 9th. And we found a street to turn down, which would have worked. We used a different street. Drove that all the way out to where we were going. Got there. I knew where I was going. But before that, I heard the one thing no truck driver ever wants to hear from someone they're following who is trying to get them out of New York City. Oh, Archie, I don't know. You don't know what? If you're going to make this bridge. There's nowhere for me to turn around. There's this arching bridge. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, that looks taller than most of the bridges I feel sketch going under. Like, even my drivers, you know, there might be a bridge that says, 13.6, or 14, but looks way shorter than 14, and you go under it, no freaking problem. Or you feel sketch going under a 13.6 bridge. It looks a little bit lower, especially when it does this going up under. It's like, am I gonna scrape that? Is that from inside the tunnel or outside the tunnel? You know. So that's already looking pretty tall, and he gets under it no problem. Of freaking course, I get under it no problem too. So I made it. We got over to where we were supposed to be, and on the time lapse, it will be like light speed when we make that turn. Every time we stop at a light, it's like cars coming out of light speed on either side of us. It's pretty cool. But we take off, and we don't want to drive too terribly far. We got into New Jersey, into Columbus or Columbia, right there at the state line. Stopped at that TA, called it a night, got some Taco Bell for dinner, Country Pride for breakfast, and, you know, made it home without incident. But that was my experience with the inbound. I did not do the outbound the first time I did it. I'll be doing it this time. We'll be going to, hopefully we can get some power onlys in there, but that'll get us out there that way. If not, we'll bobtail. But we will be doing it. It's actually, we got paid enough. We're getting paid enough that bobtailing from Michigan to New York to pick up the mountains is no problem whatsoever. But it would be even more money if we can get that power only money out there, so that we, you know. But even if we do bobtail, it will more than likely, even if we do bobtail, a little more than likely be okay, because, you know, we'll get that good fuel mileage. This truck, it's 2015, as I said in the previous video. Bobtail, if I'm not goosing it, she'll do, you know, if I stay around my target speed, which is usually 70, 72, I'll get somewhere between 10 and 11 for this truck, and that's even with my busted shit. But anyway, I'm gonna call it right here. You guys, thank you for watching this far. If you have, I will see you guys in the next video.